So a legitimate question for those of you out there that are watching this video. Do you actually like NERF Gelfire? Because from what I've seen, nobody gives a flip about NERF Gelfire. They have 2 blasters in the line so far. The Gelfire Mythic, which I've done a video on and is a thing. And then there's the Mr. Beast edition, which is the same blaster with a different hopper. And then the Gelfire Legion. I bought this at like the beginning of the year and never even opened it because there's absolutely no way this blaster is worth anything, let alone can I get an entire video out of it. But unlike NERF Mega XL or NERF Ultra, both of which seem to be completely dead right now, we may see something coming out in October during Toy Fair, but at this point there has been absolutely nothing, and it's July. NERF is not giving up on gel bead blasters. There's a lot of competition in this space, because why would you buy the expensive NERF version when you could buy a super cheap one off Amazon that'll do everything it does better? But they have at least 3 new blasters coming out, which were all posted to Target.com randomly. No fanfare, just, hey, here's some listings on Target. And honestly, I kind of like the direction they're going with NERF Gelfire. At least they're doing something as opposed to just taking existing product and just slapping the NERF logo on it. Actually, they may still be doing that, I don't know, but at least this looks to me, who's somebody who's not a huge gel bead blaster person, kind of unique and interesting. So the first thing they're doing is that all 3 of these releases have some kind of unique gimmick. Really cool, good idea. That is better than how Hasbro usually does, where they just make the same blaster a dozen times in a bunch of different shapes and overcharge for them. So let's start things off with that looks like the cheapest like squirt gun ever, ×2. This is the NERF, I kid you not, Pro Gelfire Dual Wield 2-pack. This blaster doesn't apparently have its own unique name. Allow me to read to you from the Book of Target. Weighing in at $30 US, the NERF Pro Gelfire 2 Blaster Dual Wield Pack includes 2 different blasters. Well, they're the same blaster in slightly different color schemes, like inversed. To build your NERF Pro Gelfire stockpile, a thing I'm certain nobody is doing but, like, NERF YouTubers. They feature no prime firing, just pull the trigger to fire 1 round. They're optimized for each hand, so you can use both of them at the same time, no batteries required. So not only do they look kind of cool with their different hopper design, where it's not like a thing sticking out the top of it, but it's like svelte with the inline, you can actually use the sights on them and stuff. But these apparently fire with each squeeze of the trigger, much like the Snapfire 8 and so forth, the other kind of double action NERF blasters that we have. I don't know how that's going to work for gel beads, and these look tiny, so I'm not sure how the entire mechanism operates. They could be okay. I have a feeling these are going to be woefully underpowered, and this is kind of a theme you'll see we'll talk about a little bit more, but other than the fact that it says you can dual wield them, no other information is given besides the general statistics of like, oh, it carries this much and comes with this many rounds. But honestly, this is something different. I haven't seen a gel blaster that operates in this way, and they look pretty okay. But hey, at least you can use both of them at the same time, and that's a pretty neat little gimmick. And for $30, $15 each a blaster, even if you had like, you bought one for 2 kids or something like that, they could both play together. I mean, that's not terrible. It's not for me probably, unless it's actually competent, but that is not terrible, and I give NERF a pretty decent middle, yeah, you could probably pick this up and have some fun with it. Speaking of fun with it, you should like the video and subscribe, because the only way YouTube pushes my videos out to other people is if you subscribe, and most of you aren't subscribed. So if you would hit that button for me, we could move on and talk about a much cooler NERF Gelfire blaster, and I do actually mean that. Now I know what you're thinking, this doesn't look very good. I understand that, but this is the NERF Pro Gelfire Raid, and it is a shotgun. And I mean that as it fires 5 gel balls at once. It fires a 5 gel ball blast every single time you pump it and then pull the trigger, which is pretty interesting for a gel ball blaster, and honestly, that could be a ton of fun. Unfortunately, it has like the same hopper on it that the Gelfire Mythic does, which is a bit disappointing because nobody likes that, but it's a shotgun. You probably don't need to care that much about aiming, and also the range of this one will also probably suffer because it's firing multiple projectiles at once. But as long as it's like a competent range, like usually if it's like 3/4 of what another blaster like the Mythic could do, so these ones fire at about 120 FPS and fire a 5-shot burst, that's fine. That's more than usable, and that gives it a gimmick that people will actually enjoy. And for $40, if it's any good at all, this will be actually really fun to use, and that's the most important thing to me. It comes with an 800 round hopper, it comes with 10,000 dehydratable balls, and I guess we'll talk about that because, of course, NERF Gelfire are gel ball blasters, and a lot of people hate it because it's not reusable ammo. This is an argument I've never really understood, because even though I don't particularly like gel ball blasters, mostly because they're all the same thing, and hey, power to Nerf for making something that's somewhat different, they give you 10,000 of them out of the box, and buying thousands, hundreds of thousands of them cost basically nothing. That's kind of the pro with these. You do have to wait for them to kind of expand, but you could also like get a gallon jug of water, dump them in, and have literally more rounds than you could fire in a day in one little thing. And I challenge you to fire like the same Nerf dart in the same war more than 5-10 times. It will be completely destroyed and won't really work, especially as people are stepping on them and stuff like that. You can fire this thing hundreds of times, absolutely have no worries, and if you do need to have more, the rounds are very inexpensive. I like the idea of the raid. I don't like how the stock looks, I don't like how the overall blaster looks, but I like the idea of it. A shotgun is something that these little tiny projectiles are kind of made for, so it could be a lot of fun. And if it's effective, and it's effective in its own ecosystem, we can compare it to all the other NERF Gelfire blasters, this one could be an actual winner, and I'm excited to pick it up. I never thought I'd say that. So we're gonna shift gears a little bit here, and I'm going to point out a fact that this next blaster is doing something that I wish Nerf would do all the time. Because this is something that Nerf should be doing, and they're not doing it, except for now they're doing it with NERF Pro Gelfire, and I'm actually kind of excited for that, even though I know this will never carry over to their foam blasters. And that is the Ghost. No, I don't mean dying, I mean this is the NERF Gelfire Ghost. And it's a sniper rifle. But the thing about that is each one of the blasters in the line so far has had its own gimmick. The Gelfire Mythic had single fire full auto, the Legion had slam fire with a pullback, whatever. The dual fire, you can shoot two, the Raid would fire 5 shots at once, and the Ghost has a higher velocity. This one is actually supposed to outperform everything before it, which is interesting. This means that these blasters could technically go up to a 200 FPS cap, which is a pretty decent velocity. Now, of course, higher end gel ball blasters hit much harder than that, but 200 FPS is a lot more than the 140, 130 that you get with a NERF Gelfire Mythic. The Ghost also features that kind of inline 100 round hopper that we saw with the dual wield 2-pack, which it's a sniper rifle, so it doesn't need to fire all that much, and it's a bolt action, not a true bolt action, but it is a bolt action with, again, a higher velocity than other things in the line. This one is the most expensive at $50, but it does seem to come with an adjustable stock as well, so there's quite a lot here, and that's not a super offensive price. I do kind of wish each one of these prices would go down $10, because that seems to be a little more fair to me. You can get full auto things with charger batteries on Amazon for like under $20, so the fact that these things are springers and cost way more than that is a little upsetting. And the funniest part about that is this is technically a complete loadout if you bought every single one of them. You got the dual wield pistols, you've got the shotgun secondary, and you've got your sniper rifle primary. But the fact that they give the sniper rifle an actual use, they increased its FPS, so technically it's going to be, again, in its own ecosystem, the more powerful, longer range version of everything else is pretty freaking nifty. Unlike, you know, the NERF pistol having the same velocity as the NERF sniper rifle and everything just feeling stupid, because why would you ever? Ah yes, single shot, long barreled NERF sniper rifle that is gonna shoot exactly as hard as whatever the heck this thing is. Pump action, chain fed, yeah, there's no difference, they're the same. So every single time you see a standard NERF blaster, regardless if it's Roblox, Fortnite, Minecraft, whatever, it's always going to shoot pretty much the same velocity, which makes it extremely underwhelming. That makes this new line of Gelfire blasters kind of interesting. I'm somewhat excited. Let me know if these blasters have changed your opinion down below, and if you're interested in getting any of them, because I feel kind of guilty if I'm the only one who's somewhat interested tepidly in what Nerf is doing here with Gelfire. I just kind of wish this NERF Pro name actually meant something more than just gel blasters.